She never expected a simple photo to change her life. What started as a casual snapshot of her laughing with friends went viral overnight, but not for the reason she hoped. The world saw a story that wasn't hers, judged, mocked, and shared millions of times. Every notification on her phone felt like a punch to the heart. Her classmates whispered. Strangers commented. Even family didn't know what to say. She felt trapped in a world where a single moment defined her entire being. But deep inside, she held a secret that could change everything. A truth so pure that when it finally came out, it wouldn't just redeem her, it would make the world see her for who she really was. In just a few moments, the picture that lied would meet the reality she carried in her heart. And what happened next, no one could have imagined. The moment the photo appeared online, she felt a strange mixture of disbelief and fear. She had taken it as a joke with her friends, a frozen second of laughter that would fade like all other moments. But the internet had other plans. It spread faster than wildfire, shared, reshared, twisted, and commented upon. She stared at the glowing screen of her phone, her chest tightening with every notification that chimed, each one another reminder that the world was watching. She had never imagined that a single image could hold such power, could carry such misrepresentation, could redefine how everyone saw her. Her black-faced twin, sitting silently beside her, watched with quiet concern, understanding the pain that words could not capture. She didn't say anything, because she knew words wouldn't fix what had already been shattered. The white-faced twin, ever careless, seemed to barely notice the chaos that had enveloped her sister's life. She laughed, scrolling to the comments, shrugging as if the opinions of millions were mere background noise. It wasn't just hurtful, it was suffocating. Each laugh, each cruel assumption, each misjudgment built a wall between her and the world she had trusted. Her parents tried to console her, but even they were unsure how to navigate the storm of public opinion. The house, once a sanctuary of warmth and laughter, now echoed with tension, the unspoken understanding that life had changed irrevocably. She wandered to her room, closing the door softly behind her, hoping for a moment of peace. The photo kept appearing in her mind's eye, a distorted reflection of a moment that had been purer. She wondered why people could not see the laughter, the joy, the innocence that had been there. Why did they choose to see malice where there was none? She picked up a notebook, her fingers trembling as she began to write. Words poured out, fragments of thoughts, fears, and hopes that had no voice in the world outside her room. Writing became her escape, a way to reclaim control over the narrative that had been stolen. She wrote about the black-faced twin who always understood her, who always knew when silence was needed over empty words. She wrote about the white-faced twin whose attitude could hurt, but who also reminded her that life wasn't always about being kind. Sometimes it was about being unapologetically herself. As the words filled page after page, she felt a fragile sense of empowerment returning. The story she told herself in her own words was real, raw, and unfiltered, unlike the viral image that had defined her identity to millions. Days passed, and the photo continued to circulate, but she found strength in the truth she carried. Conversations with her closest friends reminded her of the person she was beyond the screen, the laughter that was still genuine, the kindness that had not been erased. Slowly, the weight on her chest began to lift. Her parents watched silently, recognizing the resilience that had grown from the pain, the courage that had bloomed in the cracks of misjudgment. And then one day, the opportunity came to reveal the truth, a chance to show the world that the photo had lied, that the story people told themselves about her was false. She prepared, not with anger or vengeance, but with clarity and honesty. She posted a video, sharing the context of the image, the story behind the laughter, the heart behind the moment. Her voice trembled at first, but grew steady, confident, and real. Millions watched, the comments now filled with understanding, empathy, and admiration. The black-faced twin stood beside her in the video, silently supporting, her presence a shield of reassurance. Even the white-faced twin appeared briefly, smirking in a familiar way, but this time it felt like an endorsement rather than apathy. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, she exhaled, knowing the truth had not just redeemed her, but reminded the world that behind every viral moment, there was a person, a story, and a heart that deserved to be seen. The journey was far from over, but the walls of judgment had cracked, allowing light, honesty, and empathy to seep through. She had learned that a moment could lie, but truth, courage, and authenticity could always prevail. And in that knowledge, she found peace, purpose, and the quiet strength to face whatever came next. The days following the viral photo were the longest she had ever lived. Every glance at her phone sent a jolt through her chest. Every new comment, another reminder that the world's gaze was heavy, critical, and merciless. The laughter that once belonged to an innocent moment had been twisted into something cruel and mocking. Each notification sounded like judgment. Each share confirmation that her image had become a story that was not hers to tell. She tried to focus on school, on friends, on life itself, but it was as if the air had thickened around her. Each breath weighted with expectation and misunderstanding. Her black-faced twin stayed by her side, silently guiding, comforting, and occasionally scolding gently when the world seemed to overwhelm her. Her presence was a balm, a reminder that not all eyes saw her wrongly, that not all hearts had judged. Yet the white-faced twin remained distant, a whirlwind of attitude and careless remarks, adding salt to wounds already raw. It wasn't that she didn't care. It was that she didn't know how to care, and the contrast between the twins left her in a state of constant emotional tension. She wandered through empty hallways. Memories of laughter now tinged with the sting of betrayal. Friends avoided her. Classmates whispered, and strangers online felt they had ownership of her story. Each interaction was filtered through the lens of the viral photo, a distorted mirror of a fleeting moment taken out of context. At night, she would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling the pulse of a world that judged without knowing, criticized without understanding, and mocked without empathy. Tears came unbidden, and sometimes she found herself shaking with the weight of emotions too complex to name. Yet within this storm, a spark of determination began to flicker. She realized that her narrative did not have to be dictated by strangers. She had her own voice, her own story, her own truth that was waiting to be spoken. With the support of her black-faced twin, she began planning how to reclaim her identity. It was not an easy process. Self-doubt gnawed at her relentlessly. The fear of further ridicule loomed large, and the uncertainty of the world's response was terrifying. Yet she pressed forward, finding courage in the quiet moments of reflection, in the gentle reassurances of her sister, in the memories of laughter that had been real and untainted. She practiced her words in front of the mirror, refining them, feeling the authenticity of each syllable, preparing for a moment when the world would have no choice but to see her for who she truly was. The white-faced twin, though still bratty and careless, began to show subtle signs of understanding, moment of unexpected support that, while small, added to her strength. Finally, the day came when she would confront the world, not with anger, not with vengeance, but with honesty, clarity, and courage. She recorded a video, carefully framing her story, explaining the context of the viral photo, detailing the moment, the laughter, the joy that had been twisted into a narrative of cruelty. Her voice trembled initially, but gained strength with each word. Her black-faced twin present, a silent pillar of support, her presence radiating quiet strength. Comments began pouring in, initially skeptical, some mocking, but gradually shifting as the truth unfolded, empathy replacing judgment, understanding replacing ridicule. The white-faced twin appeared briefly, her smirk transforming into a small, genuine smile, a signal of acceptance and subtle reconciliation. For the first time, she felt the chains of misjudgment loosen, the walls of misconception crumble, and the weight of millions of eyes no longer suffocating. She realized that truth, courage, and authenticity were more powerful than 1,000 false narratives, that the heart story could always shine through distortions of public opinion. In the quiet aftermath, she reflected on the lessons learned, the fragility of perception, the cruelty of assumptions, and the unyielding strength of a heart that refuses to be silenced. She had emerged from the storm, not unscathed, but stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. The journey was far from over, yet she now held the tools to navigate the complexities of a world that often judged too quickly. She understood that viral moments could lie, but a truthful heart would always find its way to light. And in that understanding, she discovered a power that no photo, no comment, no judgment could ever take away. The power to define her own story, to reclaim her own narrative, and to live authentically in a world eager to distort reality. The day she had dreaded and anticipated had finally arrived. Her hand shook slightly as she adjusted the camera, the black-faced twin standing firmly beside her, an unwavering pillar of support. The white-faced twin lingered nearby, smirk fading into a tentative smile, as if she understood that this moment was bigger than jokes, bigger than attitudes, bigger than viral chaos. She took a deep breath, letting the weight of days, nights, and emotions settle for a moment before speaking. The video began with a soft focus on her face, the raw vulnerability in her eyes capturing attention before a single word was spoken. She explained the photograph, the context, the laughter that had been stolen from her moment, the joy that had been twisted into assumptions and ridicule. She spoke not with anger but with clarity, her voice steady despite the tremor of fear lingering beneath the surface. Every word felt deliberate, carrying the emotional weight of misunderstanding, judgment, and resilience. Millions watched, some skeptical, some curious, but all drawn into the story unfolding before them. As she spoke of her black-faced twin, of her unwavering support, of the quiet strength that had helped her endure the storm, hearts began to open. She shared moments of doubt, of loneliness, of silent tears shed in the dark, each confession pulling viewers closer, bridging the gap between perception and reality. Then, with gentle honesty, she spoke of the white-faced twin, of the careless laughter that sometimes hurt, yet ultimately reminded her that life was not only about kindness but about authenticity. The video reached its emotional crescendo as she revealed the truth. The photograph had lied, but her heart, her courage, her story could not be silenced. Comment began to flood in, waves of empathy, understanding, and support pouring over the initial judgments. People shared their own experiences of being misunderstood, of viral moments that misrepresented their lives, creating a ripple of connection and solidarity. The black-faced twin reached out, holding her hand, a silent acknowledgement of battles fought and victories earned. The white-faced twin stepped closer, this time offering a genuine smile, a subtle gesture of reconciliation and acceptance, bridging the gap that attitude and misunderstanding had created. She felt a release, a breath of freedom that she had not known in weeks. The power of narrative, the courage to tell her truth, had changed not only how the world saw her, but how she saw herself. She realized that no viral image, no judgment, no comment could define her identity. Her worth was not in the perception of strangers, but in the honesty and authenticity of her heart. The days that followed were not free of challenges, but they were illuminated by clarity, self-respect, and resilience. Conversations became more genuine, interactions more meaningful, and the laughter that had once been stolen returned, pure and unfiltered. She continued to share her journey, not seeking sympathy, but hoping to inspire those who have been misjudged, misunderstood, or misrepresented. Her story became a beacon, a reminder that behind every image, every viral moment, there was a person, a heart, a story that deserved to be seen and understood. And as she looked at her reflection in the mirror, she saw not a girl defined by a photograph, but a young woman strengthened by trials, enlightened by truth, and emboldened by the courage to live authentically. The experience taught her the delicate balance between perception and reality, the fragility of assumptions, and the immense power of honesty. She had learned that pain could forge resilience, misunderstanding could create empathy, and a truthful heart could always find its voice, even amidst a world eager to judge. In the quiet moments, she reflected on the lessons carried from the viral storm, that human connection is stronger than public opinion, that authenticity is more valuable than approval, and that courage and compassion can redeem even the darkest of misunderstandings. She smiled, feeling the warmth of self-acceptance, knowing that no photograph could ever lie about the heart she had nurtured, the truth she had spoken, and the life she was determined to live with honesty, grace, and unshakable integrity. Life has a way of teaching us lessons in moments we least expect. A single photograph, meant to capture joy, can transform into a story that misrepresents, misleads, and challenges the very core of who we are. It is in these trials that we discover the strength of our hearts, the resilience of our spirit, and the clarity that truth can bring. Judgments may fall quickly, opinions may form faster than understanding, and the world may watch without knowing. But within each of us lies a voice that cannot be silenced by misunderstanding. The story of the twins, one black-faced and kind, the other white-faced and brash, reminds us that human nature is layered, complex, and full of contrasts. Compassion coexists with imperfection, and even those who seem careless can teach lessons of authenticity and self-expression. Misrepresentation, while painful, can illuminate the importance of courage, honesty, and empathy. When we allow ourselves to be seen fully, embracing both vulnerability and strength, we not only reclaim our narrative but inspire others to do the same. The moral of this journey is clear. Appearances and assumptions are fleeting, but the truth of the heart is enduring. It reminds us to look deeper, to seek understanding before judgment, and to extend kindness even when it is undeserved. Redemption is not always about proving others wrong. Sometimes it is about proving to ourselves that our integrity, courage, and compassion cannot be taken by fleeting opinions or viral moments. The power of storytelling lies not in the number of viewers or the reach of a post, but in the emotional resonance it creates, the empathy it sparks, and the connections it fosters across hearts and minds. In a world quick to judge, we must remember that every person carries unseen struggles, hidden stories, and unspoken truths. A photograph may lie, a comment may wound, and a moment may be misunderstood, but the essence of a person, their kindness, their courage, their humanity, remains unshakable. This lesson is timeless. Protect your truth, nurture your heart, and face the world with honesty, empathy, and unwavering self-respect. By doing so, we not only redeem ourselves, but offer a beacon of hope and understanding to others navigating their own storms. Let this story of the twins and the viral photograph be a reminder that real beauty lies in authenticity, real strength lies in courage, and real connection lies in seeing others fully, beyond the surface, beyond the moment, and beyond the judgment of a fleeting world. The journey may be painful, the lessons challenging, but the heart that endures with compassion, truth, and resilience will always emerge stronger, wiser, and capable of inspiring a world in need of understanding and empathy.